Hello, y'all. This is Julian Rico. This is a special edition for college football predictions. We're now getting to the bowl games, which, of course, you know why bowl games are important. 6-win teams. You get 6 wins, you're in the bowl game. Today, we got a bunch of bowl games, so this could be the longest videos. So stay tuned. Make sure to subscribe to my channel, and let's get right to this predictions. Let's start with tonight. Tonight in the Frisco Bowl, we got the 25th ranked team in the country, Memphis, taking on Western Michigan, Western Virginia, 9 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. Memphis is a 4.5 point favorite. Memphis coming off a huge win against Tulane last week in conference championship weekend, getting their beat actually 2 weeks ago, beating Tulane. I'm sorry, that's my word. West Virginia got a new coach in Rich Rodriguez, and we're not sure if he'll be coaching in this game. Both teams want to end the season great. I'm gonna go with you know what? My gut wants to say West Virginia, but in my mind, I think Memphis wins it. Give me Memphis winning it in a thriller. I say Memphis wins it by 4. On Wednesday, December 18th, you got Western Kentucky taking on James Madison at 5:30 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. James Madison is a 6.5 point favorite, and a great season for both teams. Of course, Western Kentucky coming off a disappointing conference championship loss to Jacksonville State. Um, Disappointing for them, but at least a successful year for them. Meanwhile, for James Madison, the story was going to be about, can this team be successful without Curt Cinetti? And it was 8 wins. Not too bad for a Duke's team. Really good team. Fun game. This is the Boca Raton Bowl game. This is going to be played at FAU Stadium. And Western Kentucky is 2-0 in that bowl game. But I got James Madison. You know what? James Madison, stand up. I think you guys win it. Give me James Madison by 4 in this one. The LA Bowl, Cal taking on UNLV at 9 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. Cal is a 1 point favorite, and of course, their star quarterback for Cal is going to the transfer portal. So we'll get to see Rogers, the senior quarterback, to come in as the starter against UNLV, who they lost their head coach in Barry Odom, who's now with Purdue, and they're going to bring in Dan Mullen, former ESPN analyst, is now joining this team. So congratulations to Dan Mullen, who's now going to UNLV as the head coach. But that's for next season. Looking forward for this game, but I think Cal wins it. Really, this is being played in SoFi Stadium in Los Angeles. I just think the Cal Golden Bears want to finish the season strong and send a message to the ACC that they're ready for their challenge looking forward. So Cal wins it by 3. On Thursday, December 19th, the New Orleans Bowl. Georgia Southern taking on Sam Houston State at 7 p.m. Eastern on ESPN2. Georgia Southern is a 6 point favorite. The Georgia Southern, congrats on your good season, successful year. But now taking on Sam Houston State, who, of course, they lost Casey Keller, who's their head coach, now going to Temple, will be their next head coach. So all eyes on this Bearcats team. And I'm going to go Georgia Southern in this one. I say they win it in a close game, 5 point win for Georgia Southern. On Friday, December 20th of 2024, you got the Cure Bowl between the champs of the MAC, Ohio Bobcats, taking on the champs of the Conference USA, Jacksonville State, 12 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. Ohio is a 3.5 point favorite, and this is going to be a fun one. Champion versus champion, conference champ versus conference champ. That's the same thing. But unfortunately, both teams lost their head coaches. Of course, Rich Rodriguez going to West Virginia, and Tim Albin will be joining the Charlotte 49ers to be their next head coach. So all eyes on these two teams. Both these teams want to show success after incredible years. So shout out to those two schools. But you know, I think this is going to be a close game. I'm going to go with Ohio. I think Ohio have the future bright in Ohio, but they got to find a new head coach. Whoever's going to come in Ohio, please be a successful coach. just like what Tim Albin is doing right there. So because of that, Ohio wins it by 4. Then we got the Gasparilla Bowl between Tulane and Florida, 3:30 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. Florida is a 14-point favorite. The Gators feeling feeling happy after beating Ole Miss, then beating Florida State, then I guess almost beating LSU. But then next year, you're looking for Billy Napers and DJ Lagwell, their new QB. I'm excited about their new season. They're going to take on Tulane, who they lost their quarterback, who's now committed to Duke. So Tulane has been a great year, but unfortunately, they're coming off a conference championship loss to Army. So disappointing for them. But Tulane is going to make it close, but I think Florida wins it. DJ Lagway, watch him out of the pocket, and he's going to be a mobile quarterback, just like Anthony Richardson when he was in college. We're going to see that with DJ Lagwell in Florida. Give me Florida winning it by 6. On Monday, December 23rd, we got the Myrtle Beach Bowl between Coastal Carolina and San Antonio UTSA, 11 a.m. On ESPN. UTSA is a 8.5-point favorites. Now this is going to be played in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. You could say this is a home field advantage for Coastal Carolina because they play in the Carolinas. Not so fast. You got the Roadrunners of San Antonio, who led by Owen McCown, who is the son of Josh McCown, who's now quarterback's coach for the Minnesota Vikings. He's going to find a way to win this game. I got UTSA winning it by 4. In the famous Idaho Potato Bowl, Northern Illinois taking on Fresno State at 2:30 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. Northern Illinois is a 3-point favorite. Now, let's think about it. Northern Illinois, their best win was Notre Dame on the road, and they deserve that. While for Fresno State, they fired their head coach, and of course, they are bringing in a new head coach, former USC linebackers coach Matt Instiz. I'm not sure to pronounce his last name. He's going to be the new Bulldogs head coach. Congratulations, coach. But I'm going to go Fresno State. They want to finish the season strong, show everyone that their new season is going to be even stronger. Fresno State wins it by 2 in that one. On Tuesday, December 24th, in the Hawaii Bowl, South Florida taking on San Jose State at 8 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. San Jose State is a 4.5-point favorite, and Nick Nash has had a great career in San Jose with the Spartans. Looking to keep that up against the South Florida defense. Now, this season's been a little bit of a rocky mood, but at least you get to a bowl game. Competitive defense versus Nick Nash. How are you going to stop that wide receiver for San Jose? With that being said, I got San Jose winning it. Really fun one. San Jose wins it by 2. Let's go to Thursday, December 26th. On the Game Above Sports Bowl, you got Pitt taking on Tulsa at 2 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. Pitt is a 7-point favorite. The Panthers, of course, you know their story. They went undefeated until losing to SMU. Then they lose to Virginia. Then all the rest. They lost to Clemson at home. The last home game of the season. Tough year for them, but at least showed them promise they could be an ACC contenders next year. They're going to take on the Tulsa Rockets, who we all thought the Rockets could be in the MAC champs, maybe the best MAC team right now, but they're a little shaky team right now. Give me Pitt. Pitt wins it by 5. The Rake Bowl, you got Rutgers taking on Kansas State at 5:30 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. Kansas State is a 7-point favorite, and Kansas State next year you're going to win the Big 12 championship game. Why? Avery Johnson's your quarterback, and you want to finish the season strong. They're going to take on the Scarlet Knights, you got a bowl game, but this is going to be a challenging opponent for you. Give me Kansas State wins it. I think Kansas State wins it by 5. The 68 Virtuous Bowl, Arkansas State taking on Bowling Green at 9 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. Bowling Green is a 7-point favorite, and both these two teams, These two programs going to the bowl game really had tremendous years. I'm gonna go Bowling Green. Bowling Green by 4. All right, we get to these big ones. Friday on December 27th. Armed Force Bowl. Jerry, if you're watching this, your team is in this bowl game. In the Armed Force Bowl, Oklahoma taking on Navy at 12 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. Oklahoma is a 7.5-point favorite. We got to drop that 7.5-point favorites to putting them to at least a 4.5-point favorites. Because remember, Navy's coming off an impressive win against Army in the 125th rivalry game between Army and Navy, the American game, you can call that. But this will be close. Now, of course, Oklahoma made a lot of changes. Jackson Arnold now going to Auburn. So Michael Hawkins Jr. is your new QB for Oklahoma. So that's good news there. And they're bringing in a new offense coordinator for this team. So this, again, close game. Oklahoma wins it by 4. I still think Navy defense will slow that offense down, but I think they will. But I think Oklahoma will prevail this one. Give me Oklahoma by 4. The Birmingham Bowl. Georgia Tech taking on Vanderbilt at 3:30 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. Georgia Tech is a 2.5-point favorite. Yellow Jackets taking on the Commodores. Two great programs, great story this season for both programs. Yellow Jackets, Georgia Tech, beating Florida State. Then you go through a tremendous year. Give that team credit. Could they be the ACC title contenders next year? We'll find out next season. They're going to take on Vanderbilt, who surprised all of us when they beat Alabama. You go beating Alabama, and then all of a sudden, we all go, wait a minute. So there's a chance. Not for an SEC title contenders, but show yourself what this team is meant to be. This is going to be a real fun game. I'm going with Georgia Tech. Now, I know they lose Eric Singleton, their wide receiver, who's now in the transfer portal. But you still have your quarterback in King, and he is going to find a way to win it. I have Georgia Tech winning it by 3, and the score would be 23-20 against Vanderbilt. Liberty Bowl, Texas Tech taking on Arkansas at 7 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. Arkansas is a 1-point favorite. Old school rivalry between these two programs. Well, upstate rivalries, you can just say. Texas Tech lose their offense coordinator to go to the FAU job, but at least the good news is they are going to try to look for a new offense coordinator. Meanwhile, for Arkansas, this is a team. We all thought this team was going to fire their head coach. Maybe they'll be a 5-win team. Turns out they just went to a bowl game, and Bobby Petrino's return to be offensive coordinator. It paid off. It paid off. Give me Arkansas winning this game by 1 point. Texas Tech's defense will be competitive, but I think Arkansas's offense will find a way to win it. All right, this is my favorite game to watch, and I hope to watch this on Friday. Holiday Bowl, the 21st ranked team in the country, Syracuse, taking on Washington State, 8 p.m. Eastern on Fox. Syracuse is an 11-point favorite. Now, that would be way too much because, let's talk about it. Syracuse, I have a question for Frank Brown. Is Kyle McCord going to play? Here's his response was, what do you think? Do you think he's going to play? Do you like football? I love that kind of comments from a head coach. From Frank Brown. This is one of the good stories. He's hired to become Syracuse's next head coach, who was the defensive backs coach or secondaries coach from Georgia. He comes in and builds something in Syracuse. They got Kyle McCord, who came in the transfer portal from Ohio State. That was something that he impressed me this year. I think their best win of the season, I would give it to Cal, but it's Miami. The last game of the season for Syracuse, they beat Miami, knocked them out of the ACC title contention, and telling Dabo, Hey, Dabo, I got you in. Congratulations, brother. Everybody's going to play in this game. They're going to take on Washington State, who another program that had another good story. Remember, they're part of the Pac-12, but unfortunately, they cannot win their conference because they don't have a conference, basically. But both Oregon State and Washington State, great job, you two. You two programs deserve this kind of shout out because hey, y'all fight this season without your opponents, and yeah, man, Oregon State and Washington State had a good story. Just without Colorado or Oregon, USC, UCLA, or their rivals, they still find ways to win. There you go. And Washington State has been a great story, of course, except losing to New Mexico State, which I think that was a tough loss for them. That would have maybe assumed be a 12-team playoff team. But this is going to be fun. I don't think it's going to be a higher scoring game because all these bowl games should be tight. So I would go Syracuse in this, but I will go with Syracuse winning it by 8. I think it's close, but of course Washington State have their quarterback is going to go to the transfer portal. But if their defense can slow down Syracuse's offense, they can make this tight. Syracuse by 8. Las Vegas Bowl on USC taking on Texas A&M at 10:30 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. Texas A&M is a 3.5-point favorite, and breaking news: USC's wide receiver, their 5-star wide receiver Zacharias Branch, has entered the transfer portal. Boy, USC's in the big mess. Miller Moss goes to the transfer portal and now committed to Louisville. Now your star wide receiver gets to the transfer portal, and this has been a tough year for USC. You go for Miller Moss, 1-0 beating LSU, and then you go bench him for Malvaliava to start in this game. They're going to take on Texas A&M, who, of course, they did the same thing. Connor Waitman going to the transfer portal. He's now with Houston in the Big 12. Now Marcellus Reed is the starting quarterback for this team, and a successful season under Mike Elko. Fun game. This is played in Las Vegas. Remember, USC beat LSU in Las Vegas, so don't forget about that. But give me Texas A&M. I think Texas A&M with Marcellus Reed will end the season strong, show them that they will be a title contenders for the SEC. So give me Texas A&M by 2. Get my shorters ready. Let's go to September on December 28th on 2024. Fenway Bowl. UConn take on UNC at 11 a.m. on ESPN. UNC is a 2-point favorite, and we know the story. Bill Belichick is coaching this team, but will he coach this game? Here's the hint. I don't think so, because he's already recruited a new quarterback in Bryce Brown. I'm assuming it's Bryce Brown or Bryce Down, whoever it is. And he's going to UNC. He's Belichick's new quarterback. They're going to take on UConn, who, remember, no conference for them, but they managed to be in the bowl team. This is played in Boston. Now, if Belichick is coaching this game, I will pick UNC. If he's not playing this game, not coaching this team, Freddie Kitchens will still be the interim head coach to just end the season, and a new era begins next year. Give me UNC by 3. I think UNC wins it. I think they want to finish really strong. Tar Heels, yeah, the future is bright with Bill Belichick. All right, the Pinstripe Bowl. Boston College take on Nebraska at 12 p.m. Eastern on ABC. Nebraska's a 2.5-point favorite. So congrats to Nebraska to go into a bowl game for the first time since 2016. Now you got to win a bowl game. And this is going to be a tough opponent taking on Boston College, who is led by a former NFL head coach and a former Penn State head coach, and Bill O'Brien. And then Thomas Castellanos gets transferred to Florida State. Yeah, they knew the story was going to happen. This is a close game, but I'm going to go Nebraska. Dylan Raiola has to play good in this game, and this is a tough game against Boston College's defense. So give me Dylan Raiola's Nebraska by 2. The New Mexico Bowl on Louisiana Raging Cajun take on TCU at 2:15 p.m. on ESPN. TCU is a 13-point favorite. I wouldn't go with that. I go with TCU winning it by 6 against a Louisiana team that are coming off a demolishing loss to Marshall. Yeah, but the future is brighter over there in Louisiana. All right, this is a fun one. Pop Tarts Bowl, the 18th ranked team in the country, Iowa State, take on the 13th ranked team in the country, Miami. 3:30 p.m. Eastern on ABC. Miami's a 3.5-point favorite. We are not sure if Cam Ward will play in this game, but if he does, Miami wins it. So with that being said, I'm going to go Miami by 2 in this one. The Arizona Bowl, Miami of Ohio taking on Colorado State at 4:30 p.m. Eastern on the CW network. Miami of Ohio is a 3-point favorite. Not so fast. Colorado State was so close to go up against Boise State in the Mountain West Championship game if they didn't lose to Fresno State. Give me Colorado State winning it by 4. Military Bowl, East Carolina taking on NC State at 5:45 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. NC State is a 5.5-point favorite, and they deserve that because they're going to take on the Pirates, who are led by a new promoted head coach. Congratulations, coach. And the future is bright in NC State. So all this is going to be about, can NC State's defense without Tony Gibson still be that same defense from this season? Give me NC State. Give me the Wolfpack by 2. Independence Bowl, and this is, of course, we thought, remember, Marshall opted out for this match, so Louisiana Tech replaces them. They're taking on the 22nd ranked team in the country, Army, 9:15 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. The highest spread for a bowl game this year. Army is a 16.5-point favorite. Yeah, Louisiana Tech coming to replace Marshall, who Marshall had some issues of their players who are going all over 25 players going to the transfer portal. That's like the whole team going to the transfer portal. Give me Army. Sorry, Louisiana Tech. Congrats, but Army wins it by 20. All right, Monday on December 30th, Music City Bowl. Iowa take on the 19th ranked team in the country, Missouri, on 2:30 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. Missouri is a 3-point favorite, and great year for both of them. Iowa, they lose their quarterback who's going to the transfer portal. For Missouri, Luther Burden going to the draft. Congratulations, Luther Burden going to the draft. He earned it. Top pick, top game. Give me Missouri winning it. Missouri, give me the Tigers by 2 in this one. All right, to the game of the week. Well, this is going to be past the game of the week, so stay tuned this one. This is my game of the week, December 31st. The RailQuest Bowl, the 11th ranked team in the country, Alabama, taking on Michigan at 12 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. Alabama's a 10-point favorite. Why is this the game of the week for a bowl game? Well, Alabama-Michigan is the rematch of that college football playoff semifinals in the Rose Bowl. Well, these two teams have some tough years. Of course, Alabama, they were in the position to go to the college football playoffs, but failed to do it. Thanks to SMU, thanks to Clemson, who tells SMU that they should be in the playoffs. And this is Alabama right now, head scratchers. Why? Because they lost some 3 games that they should have beaten. They should beat Oklahoma. They could have beaten Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt? Are you serious? Wow. Those are the 2 big losses. Those are the only 2 big losses. Well, they're going to take on a Michigan team. They're coming off the biggest win 4 in a row against Ohio State just, I believe, 4 or 3 weeks ago. But this is played in Tampa. This is a huge game for both of them. Of course, Mason Graham and Will Johnson have declared to go to the draft, but also their tight end Loveland is going to the draft too. That's an advantage for them. But if Jalen Milroe is going to play in this game, give me Bama in this one. Bama wins it by 7 in this one. The Sun Bowl, Louisville taking on Washington at 2 p.m. Eastern on CBS. Louisville's a 2.5-point favorites. Of course, Louisville knows it. They got Miller Moss, but that's for next season. Now focus on Washington, who they snuck in that bowl game by beating UCLA and then losing to Oregon. Brutal. Fun game. Give me Louisville by 3 in this one. The Courtesy Bowl on the 15th ranked team in the country, South Carolina taking on the 20th ranked team in the country, Illinois at 3 p.m. Eastern on ABC. South Carolina's a 9.5-point favorite. Where's the Big Ten? Shout out to the Big Ten. Give me Illinois by 3 in this one. The Texas Bowl, Baylor taking on LSU at 3:30 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. LSU's a 1.5-point favorite. Give me LSU by 3. All right, let me get to these quick picks before I talk about the college football playoffs. So let's do it. Quick picks. January 2nd, Gator Bowl. Duke taking on the 14th ranked team in the country, Ole Miss. 7:30 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. Ole Miss is a 15-point favorite. Ole Miss by 10. January 3rd, First Responder Bowl. North Texas versus Texas State. 4 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. Texas State is a 10-point favorite. Give me the Mean Green by 2. The Duke's Mayo Bowl, Minnesota versus Virginia Tech, 7:30 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. Minnesota's a 6.5-point favorite, and Minnesota's trying to keep that bowl streak alive. They've won every single bowl game. Give me Minnesota by 3. Finally, the Bahamas Bowl on January 4th, Buffalo taking on Liberty at 11 a.m. on ESPN. Liberty is a 1-point favorite. Give me Liberty. Liberty wins it by 3 points. All right, let's talk about the college football playoffs. So I know the college football playoffs is coming up this week. I will do the predictions on Thursday for the first round. So I'm excited to give my predictions out to you guys. And if you want to see my latest videos, if you have not seen the Bill Belichick has been hired to UNC, go and check that out. That's on my channel. Also, my NFL predictions. If you have not seen my predictions for Week 14, go ahead and check those out. Again, hit that like button, subscribe to my channel, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.